our first time going live with our new equipment, the lapel mic and everything. And we're really excited about this. Long time in the coming. And the Media Club, you should know, everyone who's already given in the Media Club, thank you very much. We've already hired 2 people, and we have equipment. So like Omer Voice, yeah, say and do. I promised that if we got this Media Club together, I would hire the appropriate people to make this happen and get the right equipment so people would stop saying, it's not loud enough for my commute. So now those who are commuting should hear perfectly. And we're also live on, not only on Facebook, we're live on YouTube. And we come a day later for Storytime, but that's okay because all Haredi Jews get their news anyway a day late, okay? Which is how the whole world got their news a day late. I mean, when did Haredim get their news? Sorry, when did the world get news? The following day when the paper arrived. So the Haredim still get their news about 20 plus hours late, which is fine, because if it was a real emergency, you'd hear from your friend with a smartphone, right?
I think it's possible to stream live on Storytime, just have to figure out how.
Stream live on Storytime?
Yeah, you have to speak to them and...
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's cool. We'll add Storytime. You're right, they do stream live. Oh, so we'll go live stream on Storytime as well, please God. And what else? You should just know, if I make fun of Haredim once in a while, it's only because it's really good to be able to laugh at yourself. We learn on Purim to laugh at ourselves. And that's the beauty of alcohol also. The reason I don't trust people who don't drink alcohol is because they take themselves so darn seriously. And if you can't laugh at yourself, you're probably a loser, okay? Why? Because you take yourself so darn seriously. You just take yourself so darn seriously that it's just become, you know what you become? You become someone everyone has to deal with. How would you like in the end to find out that you're just someone everyone has to deal with? What a bummer would that be? You know, you're like, your kids are making weddings and they're like, okay, so let's divvy up mom to, like, who's gonna be in charge of mom? You know, and all your siblings are like figuring out who's in charge of you because you're such a liability at a simcha, you know? So anyway, so with that in mind, we all have to learn to laugh at ourselves. It loosens us up. It just makes us viable contenders for human interaction. And what bigger joke is there than human beings? I mean, we are the laughing stock of creation, you know? I mean, we really are. I mean, look what we've done. Look what we've done. I mean, we've done horrendous things. We've done horrendous things, but we've also, you know, people do really funny stuff, and you do also. And you're like a misguided missile or something. You know, like if you just left life up to you, I mean, you just wind up in so much trouble. It's ridiculous. We need mentors. I mentor a lot of people, but do you think I'm getting mentored? You better believe it. You hope so. I'm being heavily mentored, and depending on the category, I get mentored extra amounts because like there's certain mentors who are good at particular categories more than others, and I find those people and I let them whoop me, you know, whip me and get me into shape, and I have to be, you know, and I very much appreciate the beauty of going live is people have no compunction than to comment, you know, so I get a lot of comments around the world. Some are from like serious B'nai Torah, some are from Christians who don't like me very much, and though there's other ones who think I'm fine, so I can't quite figure them out. They have a lot of opinions, and but one thing's for sure, I just want to mention about the trolls, the bullies online. Is you should really think twice about bullying me online. I should be speaking to the camera. You should really be thinking twice about bullying me online. Let me explain why. Do you notice these? Yeah, and this thing on my head, the soup bowl, yarmulke. You know, this isn't the token potato chip you might see at a university. Okay, and the bird's nest for a beard. Yeah, and the cosmic dental floss on the sides over here. So. Let me just tell you something about all of those items. Those items are part of the observant community of the Jewish world, which makes up maybe 3% of all Jews on earth. And so, in other words, 85% of Jews don't know their ass from their elbow when it comes to Judaism. And then you've got the last 15%. And of that last 15%, you got about the 3% that are Jews like me. And let me tell you what they all have in common. Not paying any attention to you. In fact, being as insular as possible and completely cut off from all modernity so that perhaps they can maintain some level of purity in this crazy generation of ours. I, on the other hand, take the risk of creating a portal from the world of Torah and real Torah Judaism in Jerusalem. I create a portal so that people can maybe see into it and maybe see a little beauty in there instead of just some news report of some like organ trafficker that looks just like me or something from New Jersey or something. But there's actually a beautiful world of super holy Jews here. And I'm being a portal for them. So if you don't agree with something I say, for sure say so. But don't get bullish. Yeah? Don't start bullying. Because not that I can hack it. You can't take the heat, get out of the kitchen. I can take it. But it's not polite to do that to someone who, first of all, I'm a rabbi. I have a little respect for clergy. And not too much, though. So in Judaism, you attack, but with questions, not with names. You attack, but with questions. And you back up what you're saying when you say it. You don't just throw it out there. And but lastly, and most importantly, is don't take down your only portal, your only vision into a 3,331-year tradition by someone who's immersed himself for the last 28 years, close to 3 decades, full immersion, yet opening a portal for you to be able to experience these classes. So that's not the guy you want to take out. Okay, this is the guy you want to join his club, which is called the Yom Tov Media Club. And even if you don't join the YomTovMediaClub.com, you're part of the club if you're watching this already. So you're already in the club. It's just to be a serious member, you get online and join it and help me get the word out as much as possible. We've already hired, thank God, 2 people. And we're on new equipment, which is really exciting because it was on my smartphone before, which was a little irresponsible. Shalom, everybody. Let's go. We're going to do a little music. There's a Mishnah that says, Aseh lecha rav. I forget who introduced the Mishnah. Who said it? Because you're supposed to say things in the name of the people who knows this Mishnah by heart? Was it Shimon Shadok said Aseh lecha rav u'knei lecha chaver? Wait, girls know this by heart. Oh, Shimon ben Yoshua ben Prachia. Rabbi Shua ben Prachia Oimer, Aseh lecha rav. He said that you should. Aseh lecha rav means, I could put it on the board. Here's a pen. Aseh lecha rav means you need a mentor. You got to have a mentor in your life. You got to have a rav means rabbi, but you better get a mentor. Appoint someone to guide you. And you should know, by the way, you can appoint someone temporarily. Let's say you found someone, you said, finally I found someone who could guide me. And the person's like, you want me to guide you? And they're like, my guides today have been with me for years and years and years. I've got the same guides for decades now. And that's Aseh lecha rav. And the next one, by the way, there's a play on words of this. Aseh lecha rav. The word rav also means abundance, like great. So make yourself great. Make yourself great. But that's more of a play on words. Make yourself great. It literally means you should find yourself a teacher. Okay? Someone should be teaching you. Don't go it alone. All those people who, I did it my way. Yeah, those guys wind up like road pizza. Okay? You don't do it your way. Okay? Your way, as I said before, your way is trouble. Okay? It's not gonna be helpful to do things your way. Okay? Your way landed you in this class. Now, what do I want to say about, one more thing about doing things your way. Oh, did you know that no one climbs Mount Everest without a Sherpa guide? You have to go up with there's a tribe in the Himalayan mountains called Sherpas. and you have to pay them a bunch of money, and they take you up there. It takes weeks to get there, to get to the top, but you have to hire a Sherpa. So what's harder to climb, Mount Everest or life? Which one? Life's way harder. If you trained and got yourself ready and went in the right season, and you got your Sherpa guide, and you already did a couple of 14,000 footers, and you're ready, you could do it. Life, not sure you could do it. Not without guidance. You got to go through with the guide. That's Aseh Harav. The second one, I killed the pen while I was doing that. Oh, there's some pens. Could I take a blue pen, please? Thanks. We're going to switch colors here. Oh, that's not very good. Let's try that green pen. Let's try that red pen. Oh, that's much better. The next one is, so that's get a teacher or a mentor. Chaver. Okay, which Siri would call chaver, I'm sure, but Knei lecha chaver, and that is a friend. Okay, a friend is, now here's the interesting thing, that what's the word kaneh? What's it mean liknot, koneh? To buy, acquire, or to buy. It's really a language of buying. To Knei lecha chaver means to buy a friend. Tell me, do any of you want to buy a friend? Who wants a friend that you bought? Yeah, so the answer is you do. All of us do. You know why? It's a really deep teaching here. But if you don't invest in friends, they disappear. You got to invest in friendships. They're not like siblings. Siblings, you can even wrong them, you know. They are still your sibling. They're still there at, you know, Thanksgiving or Passover or whatever. Siblings are, family is, you know, you should invest in family. You certainly got to invest in marriage. And it's funny that we make a kinyan in marriage. What we don't do with our children, we do when we get married, we make a kinyan. And anyway, but Knei lecha chaver is, it's teaching you a deep lesson that if you want friends, you got to invest. You got to get selfless and give to those friends, and then you have friendship. And we all know that every friendship that we stopped investing in is gone. And so yes, you do buy friends. But the way you buy friends might be investing your heart, and by sharing with them, or letting them share. But that's how we do it. That's how friends work. And our sages just nailed it right there with that one. And then the last one is one of the most important. That's to judge favorably. Did I mention I stopped going to school when I was 11 years old? Can someone just tell me the next letter, please? I did, yeah. I did. I'm one of those people. There's a few people in the world where school's bad for them.
So you dropped out.
I did, yeah. 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 There's certain people where, if I promise all of you, if I had gone to school all those years, you would not be in here with me right now. That is for sure. That is great. I went to a different school, and I learned a lot of things. And boy, did I learn some great stuff. And I share it all the time. In fact, I'm flying to Brooklyn next week. Yeah, I'm flying next week to Brooklyn. But those who want to come to class next week, I'll be here till Wednesday. I'm flying Wednesday night. Anyone wants to come to Brooklyn? I'm doing a couple things there. I'm doing a big event in I don't know yet, somewhere in Borough Park. I'm doing a big event Thursday night. And then I'm doing Shabbaton in Borough Park. That'll include, I'll take out a shul, lead davening and stuff. And there will be a bata for men Friday night. And then, what else am I going to do? Oh, please God, the Possible You Seminar is coming to Brooklyn after over a year, which is really weird. But over a year, the seminar is finally coming to Brooklyn. Men's seminar starts Sunday, August 8th, and the women's starts Monday, August 9th. That's a real heavy experience, very much worth being part of.
You mean September 9th.
What did I say?
You said August 9th.
I just filled you in on a little more part of my dropping out of school when I was 11. But the September 8th. Women start September 9th, and which is Elul 9th this year, thank God. That makes life easy. And what else I want to tell you? Oh, is you can look it up online. It's called thepossibleU.org.
You're going to England.
Thank you. Yeah, that's what I wanted to say, is that I'm flying the next Shabbos. I'm doing a Shabbaton in Stamford Hill in London. And I'll be in London running the first time ever, the Possible You in London, which is amazing. And that's going to be something, yeah. That's a big deal. And people ask me, why in the world would I do that? Why would I go to London to run the Possible You? The Possible You basically deals with the 5 deepest fears of humanity. The 5 deepest fears of humanity are in order. They're rejection, failure, being controlled, the unknown, and pain, suffering. So these are the 5 fears of human beings, meaning these are the brakes, meaning your brakes in your car. See, I know all of you think you're driving with your foot on the gas pedal, which you are, but what you're not letting anyone know, and perhaps you don't even know it yourself, is you've been slowly sliding. When no one's looking, you slide your left foot over and you press the brakes at the same time. And the results you get in your life are really not from your greatness. The results you get in life are really the leftovers, the shirayim, as we call them. It's the shirayim of what your fears let actually come out. It's like when my daughters make cakes, they ice the cake afterwards and then decorate it. And they have all these different shapes. They have a whole tool chest of shapes that they squeeze out of these piping bags to make shapes. And they like to show me the shapes, like here's a flower, or here's a fence, or here's a tree. They make these shapes. But being who I am, you know what I see? All I'm seeing on the cake is what that shape at the end of the bag let out. It's whatever it let out, because the shape's job was to keep it in. And so what I see is the leftovers of what's inside the icing bag. And you know who's sitting in your chair right now? Whoever your fears let plop out of the icing bag of your life. And the scariest thing about that is that none of the fears are real. None of them are real. The ones on the board, none of them are real. Because if you ever want, meaning rejection, forget about it. Like everyone's scared about rejection. That means the person you're talking to is just as scared as you are. So why are you bothering? And failure and check out any successful person. They fail many, many times. So how could your fear of failure hold you back when the successful people have failed over and over and over again? You have to learn to chew on the fat of failure. Failure is good for you. How are you going to learn anything without failing? And which was these are part of my years, by the way, out in the streets, basically. From 11 years old, I hit a lot of walls running around out there. And I got to learn that parents and communities and societies place the walls way before the walls are reached. And so the second you leave the walls that society put, the second you leave there, suddenly your instincts are gone. You're out of your depth. You don't know what is going on, when really should have been on solid ground. It's just that you're so scared to death that you freeze. And so you wind up just leftovers. Whatever your fears leave over is who you become. And the control, like good luck having a society where someone's not in control. Control's good. Yeah, you need someone in charge of a school system. You need someone in charge of government. You need someone in charge of community. We need these people. I would never want to be one of those people. But those people are absolutely necessary if we're going to get anywhere in this world. We need cops. We need jails. We need judges and law enforcement. And these are necessary things. And we need God. And God's in control of everything. So you're going to spend your whole life trying to stay out of other people's control? You're going to have a lousy life. And I definitely learned that one because I was under nobody's control for about 12 years. And whew, I've learned to appreciate structure. Okay? The unknown, no one knows what's out there, but for you to sit here and stay indecisive about things. I even saw some girls who couldn't decide whether they were coming into this class and were blocking the door for a good 3 minutes. But we can all sit there in life and just let life choose for us. because we're so afraid of the option that either option might end up in disaster. But you got to just choose and make your best choice and put all of yourself into things. Last is pain and suffering. Besides just wearing seatbelts and helmets at the appropriate times, you know, why would you worry about that? Be careful, use general precaution, and go for it. God will save you. You know, the first time I surfed a 25-foot wave, do you know what a 25-foot wall of water looks like? It's a little hard to describe. If you saw it coming at you, you would say it was bigger than 25 feet, even though it really only measured 25 feet. But the first time I surfed a 25-foot wave, it was, first of all, it was in a jungle in Indonesia where nobody could hear you scream. I had been riding for an hour and a half on the sand on a motorcycle. I was 18 years old by myself in Indonesian jungle. I'm riding by myself for an hour and a half on a motorcycle down a sand beach. When I discovered this wave, it was so far away that I couldn't really see it. The only reason I knew that it was a surf spot at all was there's a few other motorcycles with empty surfboard bags on the sand, which means there's surfers out there. And so, because it was so far out, it was breaking about 3/4 of a mile into the ocean. So then I paddled 3/4 of a mile into the ocean. Now, the sun was setting at the time. And the surfers, I saw each of them get these massive waves. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, amazing. So happy to join them as well, because it's nice to have a surfer or two mark the spot where you're supposed to sit to catch the waves. Except what happened? When all the surfers caught their waves, because the sun was setting, they went all the way into the beach. So I was by myself. And now it was getting dark. And there's like building size waves coming through, like literally like 3-story building size waves coming through. And that's where I learned to ride 25-foot waves. And I stayed out there till I couldn't see in front of my face because the waves were just so awesome. And the white water always kind of shows up, the white water splashing. You know, the washing machine, you can see that a bit. And you just kind of surf from instinct because you sense the wave under you. And that's how I did it. And just since I'm on that story, I get back to my motorcycle, put my board in the bag, strap the bag around my shoulder, and start riding. I run out of gas. And next thing I know, I'm getting attacked by mosquitoes to the point where I couldn't even see the white of my skin. So I had to jump into the ocean to get the mosquitoes off and then jump out and run till I was covered again and then jump in the ocean. But I had taken malaria pills and stuff for the trip. And I just kept going like that into the night in the jungle, and eventually made it back to my little tree house where I was staying with tiger tracks on the beach every morning. So I live to tell about it. And now, how many of you would go for that? So everyone who raised their hand, which was very few of you, are going to get places. Yeah, you guys are going to get places in life because Hashem's running the show. God's running the show. And as long as you take general precaution, you're going to be perfect. Okay, now the last one is judge favorably. And for various reasons, when you see someone doing something that you don't like, you got to just figure there's a good reason. You got to always figure there's a good reason. Can you turn off that AC? We'll just get rid of that one. It's just getting to be a meat locker here. We're all going to like live longer in here. Thank you. So, judging favorably is how, I mean, it's so often the case that, you know, like let's say I go in the mikveh, and I'm a big mikveh guy. And for those who don't know, Hasidic Jews spend every day naked with all of their neighbors. Anyway, years ago there was this guy in our mikveh, and you know Israel's a desert, and we need our rain, and we need the Kinneret, and the Kinneret's the how do you call that? The sea of the Galilee. It's our drinking water, but there would always be this big Sephardi guy, and he would use the shower for like 40 minutes. And he'd be like brushing his teeth in the shower. It was a public shower. You know, he spent his 10 shekels to get in, and then spent like 50 shekels on water in there. And he's just like brushing his teeth under there, and I would not enjoy my time there I've taken less showers over the years because of him, because I'm making up for the water that's missing from our water source, but maybe he was like a youngest son who never got enough of anything. You know, like stuff didn't quite trickle down in a poor big family, not a lot of money, very little trickle down coming down to the youngest kid. And he's finally got a chance to take a shower. And he's just gonna like milk it for all he's got. You know, he's just gonna let every last drop of water come out of that canary. And who knows what his story is? You know, who knows what's going on with that guy? And then I go in the water, and there's some Baal Tshuva in there doing like, I don't know what he's doing in there, like water aerobics or something. And so, you know, he's up and down, but now the whole water's going like really up and down. And every time I try to come up from air for my ritual bath, the wave goes over my head. So now I'm like drowning inside the mikveh. And, you know, I just want to like give him like a sidekick and just pin him to the wall for a second just to get some air in this mikveh. But perhaps it's the case that he's had a bad injury or something, and the doctor said that, listen, the only way you're going to rehabilitate is you need to have your body weight suspended while you get your strength back. Maybe that's what's going on in there. I mean, there's no way to know. There's no way to know. You know, another guy in the mikveh in the changing room, he has a little lock, and he locks his flip-flops to the bench. But, you know, once in a while you run into this guy's flip-flops, and I don't want to touch this guy's flip-flops. You know, the rest of us bring our flip-flops. Like, he's got to lock his flip-flops to the bench. But who knows, maybe this guy had like some terrible foot fungus, and the doctor's like, you got to wear flip-flops. And he's like, I got flip-flops. He's like, but sometimes I forget them. And the doctor's like, you can never forget them, man. You got to wear flip-flops every time. He's like, so maybe if I lock them to the bench. So you never know what's going on with people. You just never know. And I'm sure every single one of us could tell story after story after story of where we thought something was the case when it wasn't, you know. And what was that famous story of the, maybe it went viral as a video. I forget what it was, but it was like someone was sitting in a cafe, either drinking their coffee or eating their ice cream. Sorry, someone else was eating their ice cream. And they just couldn't believe someone was eating their ice cream. And they were like getting so upset. They finally like just couldn't believe it as they're sitting there. And the person finally gets up, moves their paper, and sees that underneath their paper was his own ice cream. And really this person had been eating his own ice cream, and the other guy's ice cream was under this newspaper. So like we all have crazy stories like this. I leave my house on Shabbos. And I'm in my shtreimel, and I wear one of these big fur round hats. And, you know, and I'm like in the long robe, and I leave my house on Shabbos, and I'm excited, you know, and it's Shabbos, and I'm saying good Shabbos to everybody. But I walk out of my house, and what do I see? I see a tattooed, body-pierced chain smoker who's some guy smoking cigarettes out on the street right outside my house. Now, had I lived that guy's life, if I had his brain, his family structure, his freaked out upbringing, his everything, meaning if I lived that guy's life, like the whole equation, you know, the entire equation of his life, what would I be doing right now? I'd be that guy smoking the cigarette on Shabbos outside the house full of tattoos. And had he lived my whole life, he'd be this rabbi coming out of his house on Shabbos. So to judge somebody is as if you would have made a different choice. You couldn't have made a different choice because if you were them, that is the choice you made. So everybody is, all of us, I mean, who's sitting in your chair right now if not the sum total of all the mathematics, sibling order, community, who your father was, your brain makeup, your IQ, your everything, all of that is inside of you. And that whole long equation of everything you've ever been through has an equal sign. And on the other side of that equal sign is you on your chair right now. And I know you would wish that people would accept you. You wish people would judge you favorably. And so anyone you might have judged is that person. You're just seeing the other end of a long equation. And therefore, don't judge nobody. And I'll tell you, this is particularly hard. I hate to admit this. This is like, no, I always get too personal, but I'm getting too personal now. But I'm going there anyway. This is one of the painful things of living in Israel. Jews who live Torah in Israel, and especially the ones who aren't from here, their whole being in Israel is connected. First of all, you're in your ancestral land and aligning your life with the ancestral heritage of our tribe called the Jewish people. And it just seems so darn obvious that that's the right way to go. It just seems so obvious. I mean, the writing's on the wall. Even as I teach this class, like I'm literally, I don't know if you can turn the camera a little bit, if it would, Yosef, if you can focus it out the window, but like we're right outside the Temple Mount here. Will it focus on over there?
The light is too hot. Like,
Oh, you don't know how to play with that light
do
thing?
it not while it's.
Never mind.
You have to go outside.
Never mind. So, anyway, we're right outside the Temple Mount here. You know, like, is it not obvious that God kept us for millennia in exile, brought us back in 6 days? We had the 6-day war and returned to our biblical borders and got back the most important site, the most holy site of central to our people, and not only to our people, but to the globe. It's like so obvious. So judging favorably is when you see Jews in the land who don't do any of this stuff. Many Jews who are like, they're trying to like surgically reinstall their foreskins. I mean, they can't do enough Gentile lifestyle things. Like nothing's enough. Like they can't be more Gentile. Like, they're trying so hard to be to run as fast as they can and as hard as they can in the opposite direction of Judaism. So you've got to somehow figure out how they have turned a blind eye to God's hand in our destiny that has culminated in this very day, this day, right now, 2019, or whatever the Hebrew date is of this year, 5779. Like, you have to not look around. You have to be asleep completely or willfully blind yourself. It's called willful blindness. And it's, how do we judge that favorably? How do we judge that favorably? And they sometimes look at me hatefully, and at least until I open my mouth and they realize they got the wrong guy. But sometimes they look at me kind of hatefully, like I'm somehow bringing up some guilt, or I represent something that's like taking us back in time instead of forward, something that's embarrassing for them in the high tech world where Israelis are the cutting edge. I'm some kind of embarrassment. Like they're trying to show an Israel that's like Silicon Valley, and I'm showing an Israel that's ancient, and it's a little embarrassing for them. I don't know what it is exactly going on, but you can shut that window a little bit. So how do we judge favorably? And the answer is, I guess I already said the answer. The answer is that because if I were them, I'd be doing the same thing. If I were watching those news stations, if I was watching the commentaries of the secular media, if I had, these black hat people trying to take their slice of the pie financially from my community, I guess that's one way, is if I were them, I'd be doing the same thing. No, I'm just saying, how can I get through the day without being upset? Without being upset by it. I just don't want to be upset. I'm not talking about right and wrong right now. I'm just talking about being upset. Because things that are obvious to me are not obvious to them. Yeah, that's okay. So was the guy with the tattoos and the body piercings and smoking on Shabbos. That equation was wrong, but I can at least relax around him. So, I don't know. I don't know what to do exactly because I want to feel better about it. And I so blew it the other night. I was sitting in a restaurant with my in-laws. I should not have blown it in front of my in-laws, but I did. And they had loud rock and roll music. And it was the countdown to, it was during the 9 days coming up to Tisha B'Av. And the issue, I wouldn't say anything to a restaurant playing music when we're forbidden to hear, Jewish people aren't allowed music in that week. We're Jewish and it's forbidden music just during that time. And because it's the culmination of the destruction of the temple. That kind of last countdown comes without any more music. And I shouldn't have said anything, probably. I normally wouldn't, but it was too loud to hear each other. And it was, here we are, I was spending like, I don't know, maybe 700-800 shekels here to this business, otherwise known as a restaurant. But then I looked around and I saw no one can hear each other. And then I looked around and realized everyone in the restaurant had a kippah on their head. All the men were observant, all the women were observant, and it was just an entire room of men and women and children, all of whom would never play music right now. And if you do the math, it's thousands of shekels that hour that we're all sitting there that are going straight into this business. So I decided to get up and say something. And so I asked for the manager of the restaurant. And there was already, I should have got this because there was already smoke coming out of her ears as soon as I mentioned music. But I realized that maybe I shouldn't ask her to turn it off when I saw the smoke. So I went easy and I said, if you just turn it down to conversation level, that'd be great. And she says, oh no, it's Thursday night here. Like, this is like, this is quiet for Thursday night. And I said, well, we can't hear each other. And she's like, no. So then I decided to mention, like, listen, look around the room here. Everyone's observant in this room. And none of us are allowed music here. And we're not even allowed to listen to this music, or any music. And so why don't you just turn it down at least? So it's not really so loud. And she's like, no. And then but that wasn't where I blew it. Here's where I blew it. I said, you're not allowed to hear this music either. She exploded. She exploded in a way that a woman could only explode like that if she was raised observant and has thrown it all off. Meaning I unplugged something. I took a cork off of something that was not from a girl raised secular. This was, I uncorked something that was raised observant. And since I'm on that subject, something else interesting happened the other day is I was in a situation where I had to be interacting with a bunch of people, and the women were not dressed very modestly, to say the least. And I had to interact with them. As a rabbi, I was brought to this place. So you ready for this? This is the craziest thing. And I had to interact with all of them. It was a mixed group, but I had to be in interaction with each one. And they were really dressed like super not a little not modest, super not modest. And so here I was in this situation. But here's the crazy thing, is that some of them were super friendly. Some were just super friendly and very connective. And some of them were like, they were like every couple ones could not look me in the eyes. They couldn't look me in the eyes. And when they were supposed to meet, like everyone had to meet the rabbi. So when I met them, they were like looking everywhere but to me. And they were like, could not get out of the conversation quicker. Like they just needed, whatever they had to deal with had to happen, for whatever. They were part of some camp or whatever it was. And I was the rabbi, and I had to like find out a little about each person, and they could not look at me. So what did I find out later? That all the ones that were totally connected were raised secular, and all the ones that could not look at me were raised totally observant. And they just, their inner humiliation to be standing in front of me, which to me is a compliment. That I'm someone that your sense of shame grows if I'm in contact with you like that, which is that means there's that, because it's not just the look, there's something holy's happening, and there's something not holy in me, and I'm getting embarrassed now and ashamed of myself. But it was weird because it was totally on their turf. This was like loud live music playing, and it was a whole event, and it was for them to just party, and I was like part of the entertainment of it, but there was so much shame for them. And it was such a truth serum for what was really going on for these girls. You know what I mean? It was like, it really told you what's going on, and that they're not happy with this. They've bought into something. They're getting over some issue, maybe with their mother, and this is an acting out of some kind, or some way of dealing with the pressure of grandparents from maybe post-war, very observant grandparents, and they're suffering. These people are suffering. They can't even connect. And anyway, but all of us have to learn how to work through our stuff without having to act it out. Like a sign of maturity is to work through your stuff. Once you're acting out your stuff, that's not you. It's not authentic. It doesn't ring true. If you can't look somebody in the eyes with who you are and how you're representing in this world, if you can't look someone in the eyes and stand firm in your place and be connected like that, then you're probably acting something out right now. You got to feel comfortable in your own skin. Yeah.
I was just going to say, you said that earlier you were talking about the person with the piercings and the tattoos or dealing with people that are different than you. Like, how do you judge favorably? And Rabbi Hurwitz, who I learned with Aish, always says...
Do you mind coming up for this question and starting again?
Yeah.
It's just people always want more people on this. It just, the other reason is the lapel mic.
Yeah. No. So now you can hear me. So he was asking.
Introduce yourself.
My name is Michael Adams. It's a pleasure. I'm a student at Aish, and he's one of my teachers. So he posed a really good question. He's like, how do you deal with people that are different than you? Sometimes they have tattoos, sometimes they have piercings, and they're not what you're used to. And one of our rabbis here, Rabbi Hurwitz, he always says, love is the answer. And
love is the answer.
Love is the answer.
Yeah, he was just saying that the other day.
No, it's so true. So when you look at someone and they're different than you, and when you're trying to judge favorably, to really be empathetic and understand who they are and what they're doing, and then come from a place of love and understanding, and not a place from attack and why are you doing this to me, but make it about them, and then everything will go better. So.
I like that. My brother wrote a song called Love and Understanding. It's such a great song. No, but I'm willing to learn it. What's up, Yossi? Everything's good? Okay, let's do the song. You ready? I blew the intro. Here we go. You guys ready? Maybe you'll sing with me a little bit. I'm not expecting any of the seminary girls to sing. And you shouldn't. For you. Also for me. Oh, could I read you guys something so amazing? Can I just read you guys something amazing? Check this out. This is crazy. I was, I'm connected to tribal leaders and stuff from the, various places in the world, like jungles and stuff. So, I speak in panels. As a rabbi, I'm kind of, like I said earlier, I'm kind of out there in the world. And sorry, I just got to tighten my belt a notch. I'm sure these two bubbas over here are like, they're like, give that guy a sandwich, man. He's like, he needs a good brisket. So, sorry, I apologize for being this thin, by the way. I'm covered in muscles. I just have no body fat. And it's Sundays. Sundays clean. In our family, we all cleanse on Sundays because we're a super healthy house, and but we're also very Ashkenazi when it comes to Shabbos meals. And on Shabbat, we eat all the schmaltzy foods and everything, and the beef chulent and all that. But someone who loves themselves cleanses on Sundays, because give your poor digestion a break after Shabbos, right? Sunday, you don't want to eat solid foods on Sunday till maybe evening time. Have food. Anyway, you shouldn't be eating that much anyway until you're hungry. Whoa! I just forgot I have an appointment with someone. I'm sorry, I'm still teaching my class, period. But I'll be done really soon, and I will call you, period. I had a phone meeting with this Jew in New York. He actually did our discovery program. Why did I pick up my phone? Oh yeah, check this out. So I was speaking in a panel of about 23 tribal leaders, many of whom had never been in Western civilization. Meaning when I spoke, there were translators translating to tribal leaders not in the dialect of their country, but the dialect of their tribes. Like real tribal language that doesn't exist. Like, for example, there was tribal people from Brazil, from the Amazon. The translator was not translating in Portuguese. They were translating in a dialect from that jungle spot where their tribe is. Anyway, so what had happened was, it was a big thing. Meaning there were 800 people in the audience, but the front was the leaders. And I was speaking on behalf of the Jewish tribe. Now, they found out that my wife happened to be in America when I came in for this talk. And they said, if your wife could be there with you up on stage for this talk, because it was a talk on what's called the sacred feminine. Sacred feminine is a mystical tradition in every tradition, especially in Jewish tradition, the sacred feminine. And that was what every tribal leader was going to speak about, the sacred feminine. And what better thing than to have the rabbi's wife right there alongside of him for this experience, right? So check out this email from my wife. Just pull this up real quick. Sacred feminine. You know, the crazy thing is this video didn't, look at this. Oh my gosh, this was a beautiful email. Another one she sent. She's an excellent writer, my wife. One sec, sorry to do this in front of all you. She is so hardcore. I gotta star that one. I just found an email to me that's super long that I never read. But she sends me these great emails, and maybe this is it. Okay, I think I found it. So it's taken a while. Here. Okay, I'm blowing this. You guys are so patient. I appreciate it. Maybe this is it. Okay, here it is. You ready for this? Now, this is my wife's response. When I stood up in front of these 800 people coming around for like the nations of the world's tribal leaders' speech about the sacred feminine, I read this email instead of having my wife up there. Listen to this. She says, yes, but the power of this Jewish sacred feminine and the masculine one she empowers comes specifically from her hiddenness. When she is on stage with the masculine, it reduces his strength, dividing into two what was better flowing from one, especially because the one is meant to be the mashpia. In other words, the male is supposed to be is called the causative. The male is he's acting upon. By the way, females wear that masculine. When you're cooking, you're acting upon. When you're feeding, you're acting upon. You're in the masculine. Believe it or not, when you feed someone as a woman or a man feeds someone as a man, you're actually in the masculine by causing that, which is really strange because the most feminine thing in the world is to help sustain people. Yet that's the masculine while you're doing it.
Here's what I found on the web.
I am certain, period, meaning she's certain. This is rocky waters for the world's traditions to hear. She knows the world's traditions are in front of me. This is rocky waters for the world's traditions to hear, especially at the sacred women's festival. The feminine is rising, and when it finally comes panim el panim, face to face with the masculine, Mashiach will be here. As intoxicating as it is to want to speed the rising through external motion, meaning women being more external, wisdom tells us that the real rising is from within and needs to be honored, protected to stay within while it's developing, which is she's hinting at giving birth. It needs to stay within while it's developing. Sometimes expecting parents just want to see their baby already and induce an early birth. It is a mistake. The most organic growth for the feminine happens within. The masculine throughout history, either through jealousy or lust, has distracted the feminine from making her real rising, reducing her body and psyche to the external. All women are meant to be on stage together. And for its real power, no men need to witness it. The feminine is not something the masculine understands. Only one woman and one man together can create the sacred space, if selflessly devoted, which requires humility, vulnerability, and honesty. And that will reveal to them the language of shared understanding, the greatest pleasure, the closest a person can come to the divine. Counterfeit sharing, especially with its dizzying pleasure, remains counterfeit and can be identified by our need for more and more. So I'll be there in the crowd, meaning she'll be sitting amongst the 800 people out there. So I'll be there in the crowd. I'll find a good spot, happily lost shoulder to shoulder in a sea of women. Happen to be a mixed crowd. But no, I don't think this conference would receive blessing from above if the divine presence, the Shekhinah, from Jerusalem was cheaply plunked on stage for all to behold. The Shekhinah will reveal herself when she knows it's right. Shekhinah means the divine presence. The divine presence will reveal herself when she knows it's right. Hashem, God is running the show. We just got to follow our ticket stub and sit where He wants us. We know where we will see best. Sorry. He knows where we will see best. How's that for a message? So I stood up in front of all the... Oh, you can clap. I mean, my wife's writing is unbelievable. And she actually wrote an 850-page book on the Jewish holidays from a woman's perspective. I don't know if you realize this, but all those bookstores with the holiday books, those are all written by men for women. Only women read those. So all those I don't read those books. Only women read these books. They're always men written. So my wife said, how about a woman writes a book for women for the holiday books that the women are the only ones who read? And so it's called Good Yom Tov. And it's based on holiday. Every publisher's like, you're not publishing an 850-page book. So far, only thing out is Hanukkah. And I think the next one's coming out is Shavuos. But
What's her pen name?
she doesn't have a pen name. She's just herself.
Yeah, but when
She's hidden, but not that hidden. Her name's Leah Glazer. And guess what the series is called? It's called Good Yom Tov. Good Yom Tov.
I said, so we can find her also on your channels?
No, she's hidden. Her books you can get.
So the text you were reading.
She wrote that. She wrote.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, she's an amazing writer.
Pen is she?
She's from another planet.
We got it.
She's from another planet.
How'd you get to that planet?
Yeah, a lot of experiences. She's grown a lot. You know, my wife became observant. My wife became observant. You got to hear the song and then you'll go. My wife became observant, and she used to be at weddings. She used to be. You know how girls will be on the mechitza watching the men dance. So those are like the mechitza clingers. Yeah. So those are the girls that have been affected by. They've been affected a lot, not every one, but a lot of them have been affected by feminism, which is a non-Jewish thing where somehow men are like, watching the men dance is where it's at. So we're going to watch the men dance. And my wife said it took her 10 years of living in the Jewish world until she finally, like, I need a good word, but like got her fingers out of that partition between the men and women at the wedding. And like, what's a good word for like, extracted, till she could extract her fingers from the partition between the men and the women dancing and go celebrate with her sisters and just dance the night away with the women. She doesn't need to see a man dance. She doesn't need to see the action on the men's side, but just to dance with her sisters at the wedding. So she said we were fully immersed in our Judaism for 10 years till she could finally start celebrating being a woman. So we don't realize how much it affects us, these external forces that are foreign to our people. Okay, here we go. We're going to start with the first one here. Teacher, right? Teacher? You know that you're not gonna be right every time. Sooner or later you step across the line. You might need a guide just to let you know which is the way that you want to go. עשה לך רב ופנה לך חבר ודן את כל האדם לך סחוס עשה לך רב ופנה לך חבר ודן את כל האדם לך סחוס. Translation, get yourself a teacher, earn yourself a friend. Judge all people charitably, our fathers recommend. Kova ko undone. You're gonna need someone call up on the phone. Someone whose friendship is tried and true. Someone who just wants the best for you. עשה לך רב ופנה לך חבר ודן את כל האדם לך זכות. לך רב ופנה לך חבר ודן את כל האדם לך. Get yourself a teacher, earn yourself a friend. Judge all people charitably, our fathers recommend. Chova al kol adam. Last verse. There's gonna be times that you're doing things not so good. But couldn't it be you're just being misunderstood? Before you lock him up, throwing away the key, there must be a reason to set him free. עשה לך רב, וקנה לך חבר, ודן את כל האדם לך. עשה לך רב, וקנה לך חבר, ודן את כל האדם לך. You guys want to try it? Get yourself a teacher, earn yourself a friend. Judge all people charitably, our fathers recommend. Come on, front row, let's go. Get yourself a teacher, earn yourself a friend. Oh, you want to clap? So let's clap off the beat. Okay, we're not Persian. Get yourself a teacher, earn yourself a friend. Come on, everybody. People charitably, people charitably, our fathers recommend. Chova al kol adam. עשה לך רב, עשה לך רב. Make yourself great. עשה לך רב. Thank you very much. I've never taught a class with a guitar around my shoulder the entire time and just only played at the end. Those who have been watching this online, please click on all the appropriate spots, you know, like the subscribe or the share, whatever you're watching, you know, and get it out there, send it to your friends, click on the link, and please join the mediaclub.com, and let's keep pumping this out there into the world, okay? And seminars, Brooklyn, New York, you can fly in too, people fly in every seminar. Brooklyn, September 8th. And London, September 15th, I guess it is. What's Sunday, ladies? Sunday is the 15th of September? Anyone know? Whatever Sunday is. It'll be the 15th. I think so. Okay, shalom, everybody.